When I'm trying to solve a quadratic equation by completing the square, and I have a 4 in front of my x squared, I like to apply the division method. The division method kind of works like this. I know my y is going to equal to 0, right? I'm trying to solve the equation. And then what I'm simply going to do is get everything over except for my x squared and x terms. So I'm going to add a 3 to both sides. Now, the division method works because all I'm simply going to do is divide by whatever my coefficient is of my x squared. In this example, you can see that it's 4. Now I have my x squared plus 2x isolated, so now I need to find the value c that creates the perfect square trinomial. A lot of times we give that the value of c. c is equal to a b divided by 2 quantity squared. In this case, you can see my b is going to be 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So whatever I do on one side, you have to make sure you do on the other side. So I'm going to add a 1 over here, and then I'm going to put a 1 over here. Now I'm not going to write plus 1. I'm just going to write a 1 plus 3/4, but hopefully you recognize the 1 plus 3/4 is the same thing as 3/4 plus 1. Now I have created a perfect square trinomial that I can factor down into a binomial squared. Basically, what two numbers multiplied to give me 1, add to give me 2. Hopefully you recognize that's a 1 and a 1. So rather than writing it as x plus 1 times x plus 1, I can rewrite it as x plus 1 squared. Now over here, I think it's important to recognize if I need to add 1 to 3/4, sometimes that can be tricky. But if you think about 1, not so much as an integer, but also as a fraction, why don't I rewrite 1 as a 4 over 4? Wouldn't you agree that 4 over 4 is still equal to 1? Yeah. So now I can add the numerators, which is going to give me a 7/4. Now, to go ahead and solve for x, before I can subtract the 1, I got to get rid of the squared. So I'm going to take the square roots of both sides. And to simplify this further, I cannot take the square root of 7. That's going to be 2.64575513. But I can take the square root of 4. Just make sure you include that plus or minus. So that's going to equal to a x plus 1. Then just subtract a 1 on both sides, and your final answer is x equals a -1 plus or minus a square root of 7 divided by 2.